The Homefunders Collaborative recently chose the winners from its innovation competition. The goal was to come up with new ways to increase the supply of affordable housing for families with extremely low income. We'd like to welcome from Homefunders the Executive Director, Soni Gupta, and the winner of the competition, the Chief of Staff with Preservation of Affordable Housing, POA, Andrew Spofford. Thank you both very much for being with us.
Thank you.
I want to start with Soni. First of all, overall, did you get much response in this contest?
We did. We had a total of 19 entries, and they spanned a range of construction technology to one submission that had the idea of crowdsourcing for affordable housing. So it was an interesting mix and a pretty wide range.
Andrew, talk about your idea, and especially if it's been used elsewhere already.
Sure. So our idea is really an idea on how to use an existing state resource, the state low-income housing tax credit, more efficiently. And it's really not a new idea because it's been used successfully in Illinois and Missouri already for some time now.
Well, how does this work then? Let's say you might have a nonprofit developer. They want to build some nice housing, and as much as you like to help people with low income, you got to pay the bills of building a project. So how does this help?
That's right. So to back up, I think it helps to describe what we do at POA. So we're a nonprofit specializing in preserving existing affordable housing that's at risk of either going to market rents or maybe becoming dilapidated. And typically what an owner like POA needs to do is to acquire from the existing owner that housing to buy it. And this provides an incentive for owners actually to donate property to nonprofits in lieu of sale. And what that does is makes the overall development more affordable for the nonprofit and also for the state, which typically is supporting the transaction.
So this could be only a property that already has a building on it, or could it be just land that,
sorry, I didn't mean to.
It could be used for new construction?
It could be used for new construction. It could be used for the conversion of an existing building that might have been, a disused factory or some other non-housing use to housing. Once the project is done, whatever it was before, it will be a housing development that includes some extremely low-income affordable units, as well as potentially a range of affordability, including moderate or market rate units.
Talk about how important this could be right now, especially in Boston, because 30 years ago, CDCs, they had this cheap land that they could use, and there isn't much cheap land around.
No, there isn't. That's putting it mildly. I think it's a real struggle for, as Andrew pointed out, acquisition, both finding properties and then finding properties at a price where affordable housing is possible. So what the donation tax credit does is create an incentive for owners to sell their properties, whether it's land or buildings, to an affordable housing, nonprofit affordable housing developer, and still get much of the value that they would get in a market sale. And we're hoping that this would incrementally create a certain number of units for extremely low-income families.
Andrew, the way this would work is that you don't just use one thing and it solves all the problems. I guess you have to use this in combination with something, right?
That's exactly right, and it's important to emphasize there is no silver bullet to this affordable housing crisis that the city faces, that the state faces, and this is a piece of that puzzle to the solution of that problem. It's a way to use an existing resource that the state has more efficiently to do more affordable housing, more moderate income housing, without increasing the cost to the state, which I think we have to do if we can.
So how do you take one winner in this competition and make sure that more people understand it and maybe take advantage of the idea?
It wasn't easy. Like I said, we had 19 entries, and there were very interesting ideas. The mandate really for our advisory committee that helped winnow down to the winners was to pick an idea that was both innovative as well as feasible, replicable, scalable, which those things are sometimes at odds with each other. But we hope that with selecting this idea as the prize winner that we can get a lot of people interested and behind it, and with enough support to push it through to the point where it actually is usable as a tool. And as Andrew said, it's not going to be a silver bullet that increases the number of units for people who are extremely low income. But we think that there have to be many tools in the toolbox of ideas and options for developers so that we can incrementally increase the options for extremely low income families.
Yeah. Andrew, well, since you've worked in so many other places, you have any other advice for people contending with the market like what we have here in Boston?
That's a great question. I think, the first thing that leaps to mind when I think about the Boston market is the cost of construction here is just, I think, a challenge, especially when you're talking about new construction properties. The challenge of finding the resources to build, let alone affordable housing. It's very hard to build even housing for moderate income families, and so doing everything we can to adopt the latest building technologies, the latest zoning techniques. In other states and other markets, it can be easier to use the brand new building technologies. It can be the zoning can be more permissive or more creative. This is an area where the Walsh administration is doing a lot in sort of moving the city to a more innovative place.
So you have a little bit of time, but what about some of the other finalists, some of the ideas?
Yes, we have two other winners and an honorable mention. One of the other winners is the Coalition for Foreclosed Homes, COHIF, Housing in Foreclosure. They came out of a pilot program in the Four Corners area, and the idea behind their proposal is to intervene in the market in properties that are at risk of foreclosure or sale where the tenants are already low income or extremely low income, and purchase those properties, keep the tenants in their homes, and also transfer the property ownership to a land trust so that they could be the units would be safe and affordable for the long term. So it's sort of taking existing housing and existing tenants and trying to keep them in their place.
And previously, they had some trouble being able to do that because of resistance from the public authorities that held those secondary mortgages, Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac.
That's right. That's right. So there are policy impacts for that. They're trying to get the big owners like Fannie and Freddie to sell at a slight discount to what the market could fetch on those properties, so that the mission could outweigh sort of what the value could be at market. And the third prize went to CHAPA, Citizens Housing and Planning Association, for an idea that would use healthcare financing, community benefit financing from hospitals and healthcare facilities to create a very flexible fund that could be used in different ways to keep people housed or to provide the essential services that would help them stay in their housing, and also to maintain, to get better health outcomes for the family members.